Power Slap is built on pure intensity, but when bad blood takes over, the battles turn into something far more brutal, ruthless, and bloody. These aren't just slaps, they're personal vendettas settled with open-hand destruction. These are the most savage bad blood rivalries in Power Slap's history. Number 8. Kalani Kanekoa versus Darren Godfrey. The scariest moment in Power Slap? That split second when a fighter realizes they've underestimated their opponent. That's exactly what happened when Darren Godfrey unleashed pure destruction. His opponent, seemingly prepared to take the hit, instantly showed a change in expression. The impact was immediate. His stance broke, his legs wobbled, and before he could even process what had happened, he was already losing control. His downfall was not just ordinary, it was a complete wipeout. His arms swung wide as his body hit the ground. He was momentarily frozen from the impact of the strike. It was a cruel display of dominance, leaving no doubt who had the upper hand at that moment. The pressure of the moment was undeniable, leaving an unforgettable mark on this matchup. Because Godfrey's strike had left no room for debate, this was pure dominance in its absolute form. But if you think that was brutal, just wait. Up next, the stakes get even higher, the slaps get even harder, and the next matchup might just redefine what we thought was possible in Power Slap history. Number 7. Isaac Gunther versus Riley Montoya. Next, two rivals stepped up, eyes locked, ready to strike. Isaac Gunther fired first, landing a fierce slap that sent Riley Montoya stumbling. He wobbled for an instant and lost his balance immediately, but he held strong and shook it off like it was nothing. The slap was solid, but he refused to show weakness. Montoya stepped in and returned fire with a vicious strike. Isaac staggered back, his footing slipping, and for a mere second, it seemed like he might go down, but he caught himself just in time. Both had been rocked, and both had lost balance, but neither would fall. This was turning into a bloody showdown. Then came Montoya's next slap. He wound up and hammered Isaac with full force. This time, Isaac stumbled hard, his knees buckling as he dropped slightly. He didn't hit the ground, but had to kneel for a second, visibly shaken. The match had been brutal, but now Montoya had the upper hand. Now prepare yourself for what's coming. Number 6. Bathory versus Wolmarans. When Bathory faced Wolmarans, nobody expected what would follow next. Sheena Bathory stepped up, locked eyes, and unleashed a thunderous slap that connected with Christiana Wolmarans in an instant. It was as if her body shut down mid-fall, collapsing like a rag doll. The moment her head hit the mat, silence swept across the crowd, a brutal exclamation mark on Sheena's dominance. It wasn't just a stumble or a momentary loss of balance, because she went down hard with no chance of recovering. And she laid there, completely motionless, frozen in place, as if her body had shut down entirely. The impact had taken everything out of her, leaving her unable to move even an inch. She didn't even blink, just a lifeless stillness in the aftermath of a merciless strike. Meanwhile, Sheena watched her fallen opponent, a satisfied smile creeping across her face, knowing she had just ended it with one devastating blow. But if you thought that display of power was impressive, wait until you see what happened when our next warrior stepped up to the plate. Number 5. Drain versus Quiones. This was more than just a fight. It was an all-out war. Drain stepped up and struck a devastating slap on Quiones. The moment it landed, blood immediately started pouring from Quiones' face, a clear sign of just how vicious the hit was. It wasn't just a strike, it was a statement, leaving everyone stunned. The raw force of the hit was undeniable, but Quiones didn't back down. His eyes were burning with fury, and his expression said it all. This wasn't over yet. Because the chaos didn't stop there. Since the strike was ruled a foul, Drain got another shot, and this time, it was even more ruthless. The second slap hit with even greater force, making the blood flow even more intensely. But Quiones barely flinched, standing his ground despite the pain. He was locked in. His outrage was building with every passing moment. The time his turn came, he stepped forward, determined to return the slap with even greater force. Because this wasn't just about winning, it was about making history. Then came the most shocking moment of the match. Quiones stepped up and fired back with a monstrous slap of his own, and Drain never saw it coming. The impact was so immense that he lost all control, stumbled backwards, and collapsed in the very next second. The watchers were in disbelief as Drain struggled to get back up, but his body refused. Quiones was still covered in blood and stood firm as a warrior who had just taken down his opponent in the most brutal way possible. And if you thought that was cold-blooded, just wait. What happens afterwards will leave you speechless. Number 4. Wolverine vs. Austin. There are moments in Power Slap that completely redefine what it means to take a hit. Just when you think someone is unshakable, reality steps in with a reminder, forceful and undeniable. That's exactly what happened when Austin Turpin delivered a slap that sent shockwaves through the arena. It wasn't just a hit, it was a statement. Wolverine's beard practically lifted off his face, a testament to the utter force behind it. This was power at its peak, a display of raw strength that left no room for doubt. Because the second Austin's hand landed, Wolverine's balance vanished as if it had never existed. His legs buckled, his footing disappeared, and before he could even process what had happened, he was already on the ground. Meanwhile, Turpin himself looked almost surprised, as if he hadn't even expected to send his opponent straight into a moment of complete devastation. Get ready, because the best one is yet to come. Number 3. Wes Mena vs. Devin Jenkins. As the match was about to begin, both fighters locked eyes, their expressions revealing nothing but pure determination. It was the kind of stare that sent a clear message that neither was backing down, and both were ready to unleash absolute destruction. The tension in the air was thick. The anticipation was building with every second. The crowd knew they were about to witness something cruel, but no one could have predicted just how intense this was going to get. And then the moment arrived. As soon as the slap struck, his face visibly shifted, his nose jolting as if it had been momentarily displaced. The extreme force of the blow sent a ripple across his expression, a glimpse of just how devastating that strike had been. His stance faltered, and within seconds, he was no longer on his feet. The impact had done its job, and he was down, struggling to find his bearings. With no chance to recover, he tried to shake it off and push himself up, but his body refused to cooperate. Every attempt to regain control was met with failure. His strength drained in an instant, and he went straight to the ground. The damage had been done, and in that moment, the outcome was clear. What unfolded was nothing short of ruthless, a bloody conclusion that left the audience in stunned silence. But what came next would leave everyone in absolute disbelief. Number 2. Anthony Blackburn vs. Emmanuel Muniz 2. Muniz stood across from Blackburn, fully focused on the moment. The stage was set with two warriors ready to test their limits. As soon as Blackburn delivered the first slap, Muniz barely moved, his stance unshaken. But there was no reaction, no hesitation, just a calm, firm presence that almost dismissed the power behind the hit. The crowd erupted, shocked at his sheer composure. Then came Muniz's turn. He stepped up, measured his shot, and delivered a heavy slap. The force behind it was clear, but Blackburn stood firm. He shook it off as if it was nothing, refusing to show any signs of breaking. His body held strong, and his posture was in control. He wasn't going anywhere, and it was clear that he was there to fight. Blackburn responded with another hit, aiming to shift the momentum. The sound echoed through the arena, but Muniz once again stood tall. It was a back-and-forth battle of willpower, each strike pushing the limits. Neither man looked ready to give in, and the tension only grew stronger. Then, Muniz struck again. His slap connected with force, but Blackburn barely reacted. There was no movement, no loss of control, and he absorbed it like a fighter built for this. The energy in the room was electric. It was no longer just about power. It was a test of pure endurance. This match was pure resilience. Neither backed down, and each hit was met with unshaken endurance. But the next showdown is set to be even more explosive. Number 1. Azael Rodriguez vs. Eddie Brahimir. Lastly, we have a match between Azael and Eddie, a showdown that carried high anticipation. The moment Azael unleashed his strike, it was like a thunderous clap across Eddie's face. His head jolted from the sheer intensity, and before he could process it, he was already going down. The force took him off his feet instantly. He tried to push himself up, struggling to regain control, but his body wouldn't respond the way he wanted. He fought to steady himself, his mind racing to shake off the daze, but the damage was done. After seeing these intense knockouts, which one left you speechless? And if you want more jaw-dropping slaps, hit that subscribe button now.